Hello and welcome to today's video. Today looking at some relatively new inks from Van Dieman's ink. This is the Professional series and this is the Essential series even beyond that, and this is blue black, but I have little swatches of all of the inks from this set. So these come in the 40ml bottle in the very cool bottle. So Van Dieman's ink is made in Tasmania. I am Tasmanian, and this bottle is the shape of Tasmania. So I really love that. This is a really great full glass bottle, and it's one of the reasons why this ink falls into a slightly more premium category. You get 40 mils of this ink, and the prices are a little higher than the regular bottles. So I'll link to Pulp Addiction, where I got mine from, down below. You can go and check it out, and I'll also link to Van Dieman's ink just so you've got that there as well. But this series is designed to be sort of standard ink colors, and I have bottles of 3, so I've done like bigger swatches of those and then smaller swatches of the rest of the set. And we'll talk a little bit in more detail about this blue black. Blue black inks are my favorite, and so I've done a little bit more with this ink and had it in a couple of pens and all that kind of stuff. Let's look at this Tomol River page to start with. So from this Essential set, the blue black here, medium to low water resistance, nice rich dark sort of grey leaning blue black, which I really enjoy. Then we've got violet, which is a sort of a nice dusty but still sort of really strong purple violet colour. Once again, medium low water resistance. And then stone, which is a sort of a lovely, sort of almost pink purple leaning grey colour, medium low water resistance. So they perform pretty well. Nothing to complain about there. But they all look really great on this page. And then we can look at the rest of the set. So we have Prussian, which is a nice sort of, as you would expect, sort of Prussian blue, but a bit more vibrant than a Prussian blue in my eye, but still a lovely color. Turquoise, fantastic. Nice little bit of sheen on that one as well. Jade is a very, very light green, particularly with the name Jade, but it's beautiful. Mulled is a really interesting sort of red-brown. Crimson, a nice warm red. Then we've got Mulberry, which is a sort of a magenta sort of color. Scarlet, a nice sort of vibrant red, and Tobacco, which is a sort of a more honey-leaning, lighter, but still chocolatey brown. So these are all the sort of swatches on Tomol River. You can see the colours look interesting. There's nice shading. There's not a whole lot of sheen. There's no shimmer, nothing like that. They're not designed for that. You get a bit of sheen on some of those blues, as you would expect. But really, these are just really solid performing, great colours for professional use, sure, but also for like just interesting everyday use. Okay, now we look at them on Rhodia, and the same sort of colour and the same sort of performance sort of carries through. Lovely, rich, dark navy blue black, slightly sort of vibrant but still sort of dusty purple, and then a nice grey in stone. These are the 3 colours that really jumped out to me when I looked at the set, and which is why I got bottles of these 3 and samples of the others. And once again, those others: Prussian, Turquoise, Jade, Mulled, Crimson, Mulberry, Scarlet, and Tobacco. All looking really nice. These are wetter inks. Van Dieman's inks do tend to be quite wet, and these ones are no exceptions whatsoever. But they look nice on this paper, and here on the Tomol River, they do perform pretty well. Tobacco comes through a little bit, but here I'm laying down quite a lot of ink. These are really great colours. I support Van Dieman's ink really strongly. I think they produce some amazing inks. They have come along so far. Even in the time I've been reviewing their inks, they have come along so far. They make beautiful colors. The inks are sort of warm. They have great page contrast, some interesting properties occasionally, but generally speaking, they're just really beautiful inks. Now, I said I was going to do a little deeper dive into blue black. So let's bring back this Tomol River page where I've done a little bit more writing. So I had it in 2 pens. I had it in the TWSBI Go with a broad nib and the Pilot Custom A45 in a fine nib. I'm finding this ink to be a really lovely everyday writing ink, especially in that Pilot with the fine nib. You can see, a bit more of the blue coming through in the writing, simply because, we're not putting down quite as much as a swatch. horrible water resistance there. It really did move around a lot. It's quite a saturated ink. Some of these Van Dieman inks do tend to be a little bit on the aggressive side in terms of their saturation. So, you know, you do get a bit more sort of spread of the ink when they get wet. But I think it looks really, really nice. And once again, getting hits of sheen there in the swatch. Not getting a whole lot of sheen in the writing. Maybe a few little pops, particularly once again from the Pilot. And if you're going to get it, this Tomoe River paper is probably where you would expect to. Let's have a quick look at this ink on some lower end paper just to see how it goes. Here is the office copy paper, standard, you know, 80 GSM copy paper. You see the color looks a little bit more muted, but to be honest, I actually think it's performing pretty well. There's a few bits of feathering occasionally, but I've definitely seen worse. And I've definitely seen worse than this bleed as well. It's interesting that the fine from Pilot is bleeding more than the broad from TWSBI, but it is a fairly wet fine, or very fine fine, and a fairly sort of a medium flow broad nib. But it's performing okay on this paper. And here we have it on the, you know, office lecture note paper from Spyrex. It's looking, once again, a little bit more muted, but not too bad. I'm quite impressed. To be honest, I am quite impressed. You know, I've definitely seen a lot worse. And this is really not fountain pen friendly paper. This is like probably some of the lowest quality paper that I have lying around, you know, in my setup. So to see something performing like this, when, you know, if we look at the rest of this page, you see a lot has bled through a heck of a lot more. This isn't too bad at all. And here we have this ink again, just put on the bottom of one of these pages of my Rhodia pad. Don't want to waste any paper anywhere. Nothing has come through. It's performed well. Really warm, dark color. It reminds me of things like Dieman 1864 blue black in the fact that it is a very rich, dark blue black with a hint of sort of the gray tone. Monteverde blue black is also similar, but that's probably a little bit more gray. But it performs well. It looks great. As I said, in that Pilot, it's a really lovely everyday writer ink. It doesn't have high water resistance, so if that's something you need in an ink, it's probably not one for you. But in terms of sort of everyday use and just being a nice, smooth, wet writing ink, it's a nice one. And just for the sake of very good, here it is on a colouring card. I think it looks beautiful. It's a nice sort of rich colour. And to put it into context, here is that 1864 blue black. So it's not quite as dark a blue, but we get some of those lovely sort of, you know, the sort of the grey undertone there. Lamy blue black, not dissimilar, maybe just slightly more vibrant blue there. And then Dieman Twilight, which leans a little bit more on the green end. But, you know, it puts this Van Diemen's ink nicely into context. A very quick look at the chromatography here for the blue black ink, and you can see it's pretty straight up. There's not a lot going on there. You know, it's just a good standard ink made from good standard dyes and colors. So interesting. So this was a good first look at a range of these essential inks from the Van Diemen's lineup. These are really cool inks. I enjoy them. I like the fact that a company is making really solid, just good everyday writing inks. You know, Van Diemen's inks do a lot of heavily saturated ink. A lot of those underwater series are super saturated. They have a lot of shimmer inks. They sort of do enjoy exploring those properties. So it's really great seeing them come back to sort of more standard colors. So thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, all that kind of stuff. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, or if you'd like to support the channel, I would love to hear from you. A big thank you to both Pole Prediction and Van Diemen's Ink, who in the past have supported this channel quite a lot. Their support and support of the multitude of retailers and you, the viewers, helps make this channel possible. In the meantime, enjoy your inks, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.